Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the SmoovePlayz podcast. I'm here with my boy Dean, and it's Sunday for week three of the NFL season, and we got some games that we got to talk about, man.
Yes, sir. Should be an exciting week three. As you can see, I got a little change of scenery, but that doesn't stop the Smooth Plays podcast from going forward. So let's talk about this slate. Let's get into these games.
Hey, I love to hear that. First game on the slate, man. We got the New York Jets going on the road into Tampa, and little note for this game. All right, Tampa Bay rocking the OG, the white cream, and fun fact, the Bucks have never won in these uniforms. So are we gonna see the first ever win in these 76 creamsicle unis for the Bucks?
I do think we'll see the first win today. They got a Jets team coming in without Justin Fields. I think that's a big. I mean, any team missing their quarterback is a big point and a big loss for them. And the Jets, as we know, already aren't the best team. And you get them out of New York, coming all the way down to Tampa. No Justin Fields. One thing I do want to say about the Bucks is watching them on prime time. Yeah, they're injured. They're still missing some of their really good players, their tackles, Godwin, McMillan. But man, Baker just shows up in big moments and he wants the big moment. And also just Vita Vea. People don't talk about Vita Vea, man. That guy dominates the center of that defense and he just doesn't allow teams to run the ball on the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean Vita Vea is a dog, and another note we is Cody Mock, our starting left guard, is also going to be out. He's on the IR, so another injury for the Bucks O line, and I mean at some point, I mean, I know we're getting thin on the O line, but the Bucks have proven that, we can still win with all these injuries. Emeka Egbuka is questionable, but I do expect him to end up playing still. Yeah, I got the Bucks winning this when you mentioned Tyrod Taylor being the starting quarterback with Justin Fields being out for the Jets. I think that even though we have all the injuries, we still have Baker, we still have our starting quarterback, and the Jets don't. So I'm still gonna be taking the Bucks here in this one in week three.
Yeah, I agree.
Next game we got the Packers going on the road facing the Browns.
This one's interesting because it's 7.5 point spread. Obviously, the Packers have, I think they're the Super Bowl favorites right now. So they have looked like, the best team or one of the best teams in the NFL. But something weird always happens when you go into Cleveland. Playing at Cleveland is weird. I think the Packers are definitely my pick to win this game. But I think that 7.5 might be a little bit tricky for them.
Yeah, you said it week one that going into Cleveland is a weird thing when we were talking about the Bengals, and hey, that was a 1 point game and a game that the Bengals probably should have lost, and now we got the Packers, going into Cleveland, and I think that you're completely right. This is not a game that you can sleep on. But the Packers have been very, very good
They have,
to start the year. Granted, both those games were at home, so this is their first road game of the year. And I mean, if anything, that Browns defense looks like they are going to be able to keep people in game or keep the Browns in games and closer than what people expect. Jaden Reed is out for a while for the Packers. Um, I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people think, but I'm still going to take the Packers to win it.
yeah, I agree. Just you got to play it safe in this game.
All right, moving on. We got a divisional game between the Indianapolis Colts, who have looked red hot to start the year as well, and they're going into Tennessee to play the Tennessee Titans.
This one, this one's tough because divisional games are always competitive. These teams know each other, and this is another team in the Colts who haven't played a road game yet. So you got two and O teams heading on the road for the first time. I don't like heading on the road for your first game of the season in week three, to be honest with you. But this Colts defense has been very good so far. I'm definitely not taking the Titans to win. I'll stick with the Colts and play it safe, but I don't think I'm confident in them winning by 4.5 is what the spread says right now.
Yeah, the Colts have looked very good to start the year. Tennessee, I think that Tennessee's better than what their record shows.
Yeah.
I think people will look at Tennessee, it's either 0 and 2, and see how they did last year and be like, Tennessee is, nothing to talk about. But I think the Tennessee Titans have actually played surprising. I think they played well, all things considered. Um, Divisional game is going to be a tough game to play, and that's why we're hitting it off early with our dog of the week. I'm taking the Tennessee Titans as my dog of the week to get their first win. Cam Ward, first win of his NFL career against the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay, I like it. If they, hey, their game plan, if they can stop Jonathan Taylor, make Daniel Jones, and then be one-dimensional, like you said, the Titans defense pretty solid with big Simmons in there.
Yep.
Eh, we'll
Yeah,
see what happens.
I think that they
Got
match up well in
they do.
terms of stopping the run, and I think if they can do that, and then they got a very good shot, and so that's why I feel like this is a good spot to take the Titans here.
Yes, sir. Dog. Hi, home puppy
Home
Titans.
puppy. All right, next one. We got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Minnesota Vikings, and another one. I mean, this one's interesting because we got two backup quarterbacks going into this one. One of them in Jake Browning, and then Carson Wentz, who at one point of his career was an MVP candidate. Um, I'm gonna be honest. I think Carson Wentz can have a big game. I think Carson Wentz still has some juice left, and I know that we've seen Browning last year, and he played well when he was in there at times. And then I just think that Carson Wentz in this O'Connell offense, throwing to Jettas, I think he can do something. So I feel good taking the Vikings here.
Yeah, Browning's actually 4-3 as a starter, which is pretty good. But at Minnesota, Brian Flores coached defense. You know they're going to be sending heat. I know the Bengals have weapons, so you could argue that all he has to do is get the ball out to these guys and let them make plays. But I think that this Vikings offense, like you said, could potentially look better than it has with Wentz than with McCarthy, because McCarthy hasn't been great. Other than that fourth quarter against Chicago week one, he really hasn't done much. So I'm interested. I agree. I think the Vikings at home, I'm sticking on the side of the Vikings in this one.
I like it. And we got your Pittsburgh Steelers now going on the road down to Foxborough to play the New England Patriots. And for me, both of these teams, they got to prove something defensively. These are two teams that I thought were going to be a whole lot better than what they've shown so far defensively. So let me get your thoughts on that.
I definitely agree with you on the defensively part. Teams here's a couple things about the Steelers so far. One, teams are not running at TJ Watt at all. They're running to the left side. And when they run at TJ Watt, they average under 3 yards per carry. They run to the left side, it's over five. It's a drastic difference, which is crazy because they have talent everywhere. But then again, uh, one thing I was worried about with the Steelers team, they had the talent to compete with the top teams if they could stay healthy. And we've already seen Deshaun Elliott, Joey Porter both out for this game, who I think are two. Deshaun Elliott is one of the most underrated pieces in the league, in my opinion. But they are getting their first round rookie Derek Harmon back this week, so we'll see if he just magically fixes their run stopping problems, which I don't think is the case. Um, Going on the road, yeah, the Steelers won week one on the road. Christian Gonzalez still out for the Patriots. You know I have to pick the Steelers just for the sake of picking the Steelers. But man, I for some reason playing in Gillette Stadium, I don't know if I've ever seen the Steelers win a game in Gillette Stadium in my lifetime. And so honestly, I don't know what to do, but I'm just gonna roll with the Steelers.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me because, like I said, I think just I had these are two teams that I had very like honestly just high expectations for, and from what I've seen through the first 2 weeks, they neither one of the teams are even close to those expectations. I mean, Pittsburgh's defense has been, let's just say it, bad
It's been
to
very
to start the year, which is not. I had them as like probably a top three defense by the end of the year, and they're not even close to that. And then the Patriots, usually they just have a good defense, but their defense hasn't played well. And both these teams are 1-1. The Patriots also were 6 inches away from losing to the Dolphins last week. I mean,
yeah.
so it's tough to say. I feel like leaning on the Steelers is probably the safer way if you're just looking at numbers, but everything considered, I think I'm going to actually go back towards the Patriots. I'm gonna take the Patriots. I think them at home, they're just gonna they're going to be able to get it right, and I think that their defense should be able to play better. I think here at home. So this is a tough one. This is essentially a pick 'em game. I'm just going to rock with the home team and take the Patriots here.
I think that's a very fair pick.
Next up, we got the LA Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. Let's hear it.
In Philly, we saw this matchup in the divisional round last year in a game that, man, the Eagles looked like I think they were up 2 touchdowns with under 5 minutes left, and the Rams were ended up being in the red zone down like 6 or 7 points with under a minute left. Something like that. But the Rams, I got the Rams winning this one in Philly.
Yeah, I like that, and the Rams are very good defensively. I think that this Rams team. I was just talking about how I thought the Steelers were a top three defense. This Rams team is a top. They have a top three defense in the NFL right now through the first 2 weeks, and I think that their defensive line is very, very good, and they can definitely, if there's a team that has a shot at slowing down Saquon, this Rams team is definitely one of those teams. Um, all that said, though, I mean, this is still the Philadelphia Eagles at home, LA Rams going cross country. I think that there's a lot that's stacked against the Rams. And look, they're still the defending Super Bowl champs. They're still 2-0. I just don't have, I can't justify picking against the Eagles right now until I see something that is like very, very alarming, whether or a big injury or something. So I'm still going to be taking the Eagles here to win at home against the Rams.
I I love that pick for one reason because I think the Eagles have won 18 out of the last 19 games. So I think that's a very fair pick. But I think they're losing today. I think they're losing today.
All right. Next up, we got the Raiders going on the road against the Washington Commanders.
The Raiders. The Raiders going to DC. Um, I like the Raiders. I like my boy Gino. He didn't write back. He ain't ever writing back. Um, but honestly, Jaden Daniels is out too. I'm going with the Raiders here. I think Brock Bowers can have a big game. I think Ashton Genty. I don't know if you saw they asked the Raiders OC about his usage, and he said in basketball they call it load management. Like we drafted this guy, whatever.
Yeah.
But hopefully they get Genty involved this week. He gets 20 plus carries, and the Raiders go into Washington and beat the Commanders team led by Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I think Jane Daniels being out, Marcus Mariota is the starter for this one. I think this Raiders team is live. They're still underdogs even with Daniels out. Also, Eckler is going to be out for the year, so we're going to be seeing everybody that was hyping up Bill Krosky Merritt and was like got him as a late round pick in your fantasy team. Congratulations, he's going to be the guy, and we'll see how he does as RB1, but. Yeah, I think the Raiders are probably going to be my play here as well, even though they're underdogs, just because it's going to be tough with no Jaden Daniels. And I know look, I've said it a few times about how I haven't been that high on Genty. I don't think that Genty's a bad player by any means. I think that he is a very good player. I just think that the situation he's in isn't ideal for him. He's got not the greatest O line. He's running behind. So it's just gonna that's kind of my whole. I wanted to clear that up before the year goes on and he has like 5 games straight where he has 100 plus, and I get called out on, oh, you said he was terrible. No, I don't think he's bad. I think he's just got a shaky O line, and so that's
You
why
do.
I wasn't very high on Genty this year.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Moving on, we got the Atlanta Falcons on the road against Carolina, divisional game.
Another divisional game. We know the Panthers put up some fight last week, and really in the last 10 minutes, that was it. They actually recovered an onside kick, which I never thought would happen again, ever. But they recovered an onside kick, end up getting penalty after penalty from the Arizona Cardinals to try to get them to score a touchdown, and they still couldn't. So now they come back home. They played better at Carolina than on the road last year. It's a divisional game. I think I might like them to cover the spread, but I'm definitely picking Atlanta. We saw what Atlanta can do with Bijan on Sunday night. And let's just say that guy, if they continue to give him the ball like they did on Sunday night, he might win Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, Bijan looks like he's going to be a big problem
Yeah,
for teams this year. And yeah, I know you mentioned last week calling for them to use him in the run game and more so than the pass game. But I mean, look, he's been dominant in the pass game. So I think getting the ball to him in the pass game, get him into one-on-one situations and open field. That who's tackling that dude one-on-one in open field? I mean, good luck.
no, but
I think he's like in terms of open field, he's probably up there with like Saquon and Derrick Henry as like a guy that's one-on-one. You just ain't gonna win.
I mean, right now he might be at the top of that list. Saquon and him are probably neck and neck, but yeah,
I'm definitely gonna be taking Atlanta here. You mentioned, I mean, Carolina though. I mean, Arizona did everything they could to keep them in that game, and Carolina just still wasn't able to get the job done. So I think that Carolina, it's a deeper rooted issue right now than just the guys on the roster. I think it's more it's an organizational mindset right now in Carolina, I think. I don't know what needs to change because I don't think that they have a bad roster and I don't think they've, played the worst, but I don't know. I don't know what needs to happen for that Carolina team to get on the right track, but until something changes, I can't take them and that's why I'm going to take the Falcons here on the road.
yes, sir.
All right. Next up, we got the Houston Texans and the 1-1 Jacksonville Jaguars.
Now this game was a tough pick for me because if you just asked me looking at both rosters, I prefer Jacksonville. And Jacksonville's at home, and Jacksonville should probably be 2-0, honestly. Um, but Houston has won 8 of their last 10 in the AFC South as a dog. They're going on the road here to Jacksonville. And quite frankly, this is a must-win game for the Houston Texans. You cannot fall to 0-3. You just can't. And it's a divisional game. And if they win this game, that puts them what, tied for second in the division because it's the Colts at the top, and then them and the Jags would both be 1-2. This is a must-win game for Houston, so I'm gonna go Houston.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. This is a must-win game. And this is another one that I see is essentially a pick 'em. But I mean, dude, let me tell you, these quarterbacks, CJ Stroud and Trevor Lawrence, I mean, outside of their rookie years have been shaky. And I mean, which one of these guys is going to step up? And a big thing for me is going to be Brian Thomas for the Jags. I don't know what is going on with Brian Thomas, but he literally looks like he's staring death in the face when he's running across the middle of the field. So he's lacking confidence, and I feel like that's not something that's just gonna get shook off, in a week. So I wouldn't be surprised if, we see kind of more of him be just like kind of being scared trying to catch balls and in this week because I don't think that's gonna go away. Um, I just this Houston team has been so shaky and has looked really rough in my opinion. Like
They have,
all dating back to last year even. I just think that there's more upside right now with the Jacksonville Jags, so I think that I'm gonna take the Jags here. Um, my boy Liam Cohen at OC hit him with the Duval. I'm taking the
Crazy about the
Jags.
Jags. Hey, all I'm saying is, or just two reasons why I like Houston. It's just that D line against this Jags O line, and also you don't want to have a confidence issue whenever Derek Stingley's lining up across from you.
Yeah.
Uh, that's not a good thing for. I agree with that Brian Thomas take for sure.
All right. Next up, we got the Denver Broncos and the LA Chargers. This is in our late win. We're getting into our late window, so divisional game in the late window. What are we thinking?
I want to hear what you have to say about this one because this one was very hard for me.
I think it is definitely it's not, a lock by any means, but I think for me through the first 2 weeks of this season and it's tough because me, I've been high on Denver dating back to last year and I thought that this year was the year they were going to get it all together and you know they were probably my pick to win the AFC West. But then the LA Chargers came along and they are letting Justin Herbert sling that rock. And that is something that I'm sure he's been waiting to do, and I've been waiting to see, him just get let loose. Quentin Johnston looks like he's gonna like ah, it's he's looking like a first round pick. He's looking like a first round pick right now. Um, yeah, I got to take the Chargers, man, because the Broncos, I think, still got a lot to prove, and I think the Chargers are probably a top three team, top 4 or 5 team in the NFL. Anywhere, they're probably 3, 4, or 5 right now in the NFL.
I I agree with your take. I mean, Justin Herbert he has 15 incompletions on the season and 5 touchdowns. So, I mean, this guy's been balling. And like you said, you called for that Quentin Johnston breakout. It's looked great through 2 weeks. He's got 3 of those touchdowns. And the just also this Chargers defense, like this Chargers team as a whole, is looked great through 2 weeks. And also, but we got to remember this Denver team is a leverage call away from being 2-0 against the Indianapolis Colts last week. Um, and yes, I definitely think the Chargers have been more reliable than Denver throughout the season so far through 2 weeks. But I think I'm going to roll with the Denver Broncos here and Sean Payton and them guys going into LA, taking over Charger Stadium. We've seen it happen before. It's happening again this Sunday. Give me the Broncos to win this divisional matchup.
All right, all right. Next up, we got the New Orleans Saints going into Seattle. And Dean, I think we might be on the same page here on this one. So I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah, I don't have much to say, and honestly, for a lot of Saints games, this is probably what it's going to be. I ended up picking them last week. They were close. They were in the game. They're not winning this one. I got Seattle, and I got Seattle. Honestly, the 7.5. I might lay the 7.5 with Seattle.
Yeah, I might lay the 7.5 as well. See, the one note I have for Seattle is they are dealing with a lot of guys, battling injuries. They're looking like game time decisions, so that could be something you could look at. And also, just something to note, Spencer Rattler. I mean, Spencer Rattler has actually looked very, very good. I think he's a top 10 quarterback in terms of PR or Pro Football Focus's like quarterback rankings. I think he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now. And so I don't think you can completely sleep on the Saints here, but in week 3 right now against Seattle, all the way up going to Seattle, I mean, I think I gotta take. You just gotta take Seattle here, and so yeah, I think I'm
They're
gonna
in.
be taking Seattle here. I'm gonna be taking it as my lock of the week.
Okay, I like it. I will say you said that injury note, and I see their injury report. They are missing 2 of their 3, top safeties, and Devon Witherspoon's out. So that might be, something to monitor. But I think, yeah, Seattle's the pick. So they're your lock of the week.
Yeah, I think Seattle's gonna be my lock of the week this week.
Okay, I like it.
Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys going into Chicago, into Soldier Field. And Soldier Field is another one of those weird places that I don't think, if I was in the NFL, it's one of those places I wouldn't be super excited to go play in.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It is weird things happen in Soldier Field. And this game was tough too because we know how bad the Bears have looked. Honestly, since like I said, that fourth quarter against the Vikings, because they were
Yeah.
up in that since that fourth quarter, they've been outscored. I think it's like 70 something to 21 because the Lions put up 52 on them last week.
Yeah.
But you got a Cowboys offense who the Cowboys as a whole have looked shaky too because I mean, probably should have lost to the Giants last week. Um, Going on the road, Bears cannot fall to 0-3. I still don't think I can back them. Caleb Williams has been highly questionable so far. I think I got to roll with the Cowboys on this one.
I agree. I think that Caleb Williams has been very, very questionable since that fourth quarter you mentioned in week 1. And this is a Dallas team that their offense looks incredible. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Their offense looks great, but their defense might be the worst defense in the NFL. And I'm looking at the other side, honestly. Chicago Bears at home, Ben Johnson, like you're 2 weeks in and you're 0-2. This is week 3 now. You have a very bad defense through the first 2 weeks that you're going against at home. This has to be a get right game for Caleb Williams. Has to. Like, I think that if you can't play well at least offensively. I don't even care what the defense does. If you can't play well offensively and show some consistency on offense through 4 quarters in this game against Dallas, then I think Houston, we got a problem. Um, but I got faith. I got faith in this Bears team. There's so much talent. And I think I'm gonna take the Bears here. I think the Bears will figure it out at home and get their offense going against a subpar Dallas defense. And I think they can get the job done and get the win here at home.
Okay.
And then wrapping this one up, our last game in the late window, we got the Arizona Cardinals playing the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, this one is another great divisional match. There's a lot of divisional matchups this week. I will say keep an eye on that divisional matchup under trend that has been strong towards the under. We'll see if that continues this week. Um, I'll just say it outright. I'm definitely going with the Cardinals in this game. We got two and O teams. The Niners just got a win last week with Mac Jones starting. I believe he's starting again this week. Is Purdy
I believe
questionable?
he is as well. I haven't seen anything that indicates he's not.
Yeah, Purdy's questionable, so maybe he plays, but I don't think he's going to play. The Cardinals are without Will Johnson, it looks like. Um, but I feel like I don't know his record exactly off the top of my head, but I feel like Kyler Murray and the Cardinals have done well against the 49ers over the past 3 or 4 years, even when they've been good. So I'm gonna roll with the Cardinals here.
All right. Yeah, another divisional game. I like your take on the divisional unders. I think that this is another game that we look at could definitely be a low scoring battle.
Yeah.
Um, this is my thing about the Cardinals, and I think I've said it before, and I'll say it again if I have said it before. The Cardinals are a weird team because we saw last week, like I mentioned earlier, they did everything they could to try and lose against the Carolina Panthers. But then they'll play teams like the Eagles and they'll play like, Super Bowl contenders. They play to the talent that they're playing against. I feel like they beat teams that they shouldn't beat most of the time, and they lose to teams that they should probably blow out of the water. This being a divisional game against the Niners, it's a weird one. And if Mac Jones is playing, honestly, I think that they should play Mac Jones. Not because, oh, I'm like on the Mac Jones hype train because he played well last week. I just think that Brock Purdy sitting another week would be good for him to kind of, just make sure he's all the way healthy.
Yeah.
But this Arizona team is shaky, man, and I think the Niners are going to be my pick here. I just believe that this Niners team, they just have overall more experience. You mentioned the DBs being out for Arizona. I think the defensive backs are very thin right now for Arizona, and it's going to hurt it's going to hurt Arizona in the long haul in this one. I could just see a couple plays where they get beat over top or something like that, and so I think I got to rock with the Niners here at home in a divisional game.
Okay. I can respect that.
All right. And that wraps up all of our Sunday slate games. Stay tuned though, because we do have our Sunday night matchup that's going to be coming out probably around, 7:20, 7:30-ish. I'll have it, posted down below when that's going to go up. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and down in the comments section, let us know teams that you like this week. Let us know your locks and your dogs down in the comments section. And Dean, you got anything else you want to say before we close this one out?
I got nothing else. Let's watch some good football, my friend.
Yes, sir. Hey, we appreciate y'all stopping by as always, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.